Greetings from the Long Island Sound podcast. Welcome to the show. Please rate, review, and comment on the show, and call our listener line and leave a message for our guest. Dial 631-800-3579. All right, enjoy the show.
Thanks for joining us for the Long Island Sound podcast. Each week we explore new music and dive deeper with the artists and their stories behind the music. Please subscribe and rate and review us wherever you stream this podcast. Here's your host, Steve Yusko.
I have an outstanding episode for you today. My guest has been an agent for change in various states in America, developing community through music and harmony. Rock Voices is a unique program pulling communities together. Today we'll explore the Rock Voices program with founder Tony Lechner. You'll hear how this multi-talented professor of music helped gather people together through their mutual love of singing. There's so much wonderful information to unpack. Come, join the conversation. Let's listen to their cover of Queen's Somebody to Love.
Each morning I get up, I die a little. I can barely stand on my feet. Take a look in the mirror and cry. I have spent all my years believing you, but I just can't get no relief. Oh, somebody, anybody find me somebody to love. Yeah. I work hard every day of my life. I work till I ache my bones. At the end of the day, I take home my heart, pay on time. I go down on my knees and I praise the Lord till the tears run down from my eyes. Lord, somebody, can anybody find me somebody to love? Every day, I try and I try, but everybody wants to put me down. They say I'm going crazy. Say I got too much water in my brain. I got no common sense. I got nobody left to believe. Anybody find me somebody to love? Anybody find me someone to love? I got no rhythm. I just keep losing my beat. I'ma say I'm alright. She's alright. I ain't gonna face no defeat. I just gotta get out of this prison cell. One day I'm gonna be free, Lord.
Find me somebody to love. 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 Find me somebody.
am so excited about today's guest. He's an award-winning composer, a sound designer. I don't know what the hell that is. A songwriter. And most of all, I found him on Facebook, and he does this thing called Rock Voices, and we're going to get into it. I want to welcome to the Long Island Sound, Tony Lechner. Welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so I'll give a little bit more of a teaser backstory to the audience out there. So, of course, when you're on Facebook or doing any searches, I probably see more things about music than I ever intended to in my life, because the AI out there goes, oh, this guy likes microphones. Oh, this guy likes speakers and, what have you. And I came across an advertisement for Rock Voices. I click on it. Coolest thing. And I'll let Tony talk about it. But I think I IM'd you, right? I messaged you and you got back to me, and I was like, this is the coolest thing in the world, I think. And I'm not just blowing smoke up your skirt, man. I was in a church choir. I liked singing in the choir, learned a hell of a lot. But I didn't really like all the church music that we had to do. And this is kind of like a crossover from that. So anyway, I'll let you talk. Tell me about Rock Voices, and then let's get into your background and stuff like that. We're going to share some of the music that Rock Voices does. And it's just kind of neat, something different. It's really kind of cool. Anyway, the mic is yours, Tony.
Oh, thanks, Steve. Yeah, I mean, it is one of the coolest things. I agree with you. It's Rock Voices is unique. It's a choir for, I'm going to say it's a choir for non-singers, but that's not quite right. Mm-hmm. Because really all humans are singers. It's the original instrument, the human voice, and everybody can sing, even though most people say, I can't sing. But really, that's really not true. Most people can sing. They're just either afraid to sing, or they're traumatized from past, experiences that went bad with singing, or they've never had the chance to sing. But who doesn't love to sing along with pop songs or rock songs in their car or whatever,
or in the shower, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
yep.
Singing, like, music's in all of us, and so many choirs are hard to access for most people. If you don't read music, if you don't maybe have a little handle on some foreign languages, it's hard to get into a choir. Choirs can feel elite. They aren't all elite, but they can feel that way.
Sure.
And they tend to keep people away because of that. There's auditions to get in. It's intimidating. And most people don't want to do that. They don't want to put themselves through that. Why would they? It can be humiliating to sing in front of someone and then have them not like you. It's so vulnerable to sing.
Right. Absolutely.
So vulnerable. So I thought, what if we make a choir for just rock music and let anybody join and just sing rock music, and let all these people who totally have music in them and want to get it out, give them a venue to get that out and be rock stars. I don't even like to call it a choir. I like to call it a rock band with a ton of singers. That's how I think of it.
Right.
Because we're doing rock songs and all the harmonies. You see a lot of cover bands out, and the thing a lot of cover bands let go is the vocals, because they're all focused on the music and maybe one singer, maybe there's a backup singer, but most cover bands, they don't really do justice to that. We play with a real band when we perform, and a live band, professional band, and all the harmonies are there because the focus is on the harmonies.
It's so interesting. As you were talking about it, I was thinking about the intimidation of being in a, quote, choir. I almost equate it to, hey, exercising and gyms and Planet Fitness and all the other things of, I do have the ability to exercise. I'm probably not that good at it. And I'm not going to that gym because it's too intimidating. That's the parallel that I think sees it. So you're like the Planet Fitness of music.
Judgment-free zone.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing that I think is interesting, and I got this just from seeing one of your videos where you do Here Comes the Sun, the Beatles song, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you have an array of people sing, all different people singing. And I was really enthralled by just the different people, okay, of different capabilities, but all really good, really good. And then I said, you know what? It's interesting because one, it's a great outlet. It's a great way of building community, especially after COVID. And we'll talk about the challenges you had with that. You had to have challenges with COVID, right? When nobody could meet. But I think that's like the secret sauce of taking something you love, lowering the bar in a way to give people a way to find their voice. I think that's wonderful.
Totally. That's a good.
And I can go on for another 20 minutes and not let you talk, but I'm gonna let you
That's
talk.
funny that video you're talking about, the Here Comes the Sun, that's actually a bunch of the Rock Voices directors. It's a promo video I put together to inspire our members and future members to join up and say, like, here's a message from some of our directors. Those are directors from groups all over New England.
Oh, interesting.
So I did a little clip of each of them and we strung it together. They sent me their clips, and I just strung it together digitally and in iMovie. And we put it out as a little inspirational promo, like join the next Beatles. We're doing all Beatles. This was this past summer we did it for. So it was, it was an all Beatles show. And so, yeah, that was we'd never done something like that before. That was just a fun little thing.
Now let's bring it back a little bit. So, so you're up in Northampton, Massachusetts, right? But you do have groups that are in different states. And I know there's one on Long Island. So like, you fit into the Long Island Sound. That's my little, release to get you into the program. But tell me when you started. Give me some history on Rock Voices. And I do want to explore your background because what I'm very interested in, my wife's been socking away money for my voice lessons, which she said I should definitely take, and we got to talk about that later. So I got a couple of stories about that. Tell me about tell me about the beginnings of Rock Voices, and then I really want to get into your background because it's really interesting to me. So
cool. If
it's true, I mean, I saw it on LinkedIn, so it's got to be true.
It's greatly exaggerated. Rumors of my background. So I started in 2012. In the spring of 2012, one rock choir in Hadley, Massachusetts, which is right near where I lived. And I thought I had been teaching high school music and middle school music before that.
Okay.
And I've been running a jazz choir, an evening jazz choir once a week called the Valley Jazz Choir for a couple of years. It was really fun. And I talked with my wife and we said, wouldn't it be fun if we made a choir just for rock music? Maybe we should try this. And so we thought we could just put an ad out and start it. And we looked up online to see if it already existed. And it turns out there was one in England. There's like a really big community for this in England. I didn't know about this when we came up with the idea. So we can still feel like we came up with the idea, but it had been going on already in England. So I thought, well, wow, they seem to be doing it. So it definitely can work. Put an ad in the paper. 50 people showed up the first night. I think
really?
I knew two of them. I knew two of them, maybe.
Wow.
And it was like this experimental new thing. Come if you want to sing rock music. Try this out. And they did. The concert went so well 3 months later that I said to them backstage, it was in a church, so not really backstage, but in the room behind the church, I said to them, hey, you guys, this is so much fun. And I love this so much. And you guys are so great. I'm going to quit my job and just do this from now on. And they told me later, they were like, like all the pressure was on them. So we got to perform good now. Oh no, his job is riding on it.
Right.
And my wife and I discussed it. Like we think this could work. It seems like it's funny. I started as just another way. Like we had a new baby. We had a 1.5-year-old and a brand new baby.
Wow.
And I was working 5 jobs, teaching full time, and then doing four other part-time jobs after school every day. So I was gone all day and all night, working. And I thought, like, well, this is one more thing to add. This was the fifth job, actually. She's like, okay, let's try it. And just thought it was just supposed to be another way to make money doing music.
Sure.
We're gigging musicians, teachers. I'm like, I can teach people this and make some more money. And it turned into something I did not expect, which was a community of people who didn't exist before it created with us. And it was a community of people who didn't have an outlet, didn't have a home, didn't have a choir, like a home for music. All of a sudden, this was a community that was enjoying singing, and I could see the magic of it. And they could see the magic of it. And we all kind of just knew this is something special. So I felt like I had to do it. I quit all my other jobs gradually. I quit the full-time job, and I kept a couple of the part-time stuff. And
Wow.
and then a year later, a season later, we grew to 40. We started, by the time we hit the concert, we had maybe 35 singers left, And
Okay.
in the summer, we did a summer session. We had maybe 40 or 50 people. And we did a winter session. It was up to 80 people. And then a year or two later, it was up to 100. And I said, okay, I'm going to start one in this state, start one in this town, and try this. And then I couldn't do more than 3 a week. So I said, I'm going to hire this person I know to do one. And they started doing it. And then I hired someone else. And now I've got like 12 or 13 different directors that subcontract from us, teaching choirs all over the place.
Wow.
So it kind of expanded.
What's interesting from a business aspect, moving from what could seem like a volunteer hobby, right?
Yeah.
To all right, how do you monetize this? And now you've got people who join the community and are willing to put money up in order to be a part of it and put their money where their mouth is. That's a bad pun, but you know what I mean. To make that investment. I mean, I would think personally, it's like, you know what? They like it so much, they're willing to pay for it.
Yeah. And
when you pay for something, you're investing your time, and you get a different level of seriousness about it. Now, I'm gonna divert off a moment. So I was in a church band, a Catholic church, and we did contemporary Christian music. Right now, see those guitars behind me? Okay, they're a little dusty, and I'm very rusty. Okay, but let me tell you, when I played with other people, we had a handful of people, unbelievable lessons for me, and people were very generous. And if you're open to criticism, and everyone was kind, as we all figured out our dynamics, that we're all trying to get a better sound, it kind of worked out. But the one thing that we were really credited for was the vocals, not my vocals. We had a mom and daughter and a set of ladies that really knocked it out of the park. We had this guy, Rob Bello, a good friend of mine, who is great ear, played in cover bands for 30 years. We had to figure out how to work with Rob because he really had an ear for things. And then when it clicked, he said, I need you to take this level, that level, so on. And people just rode with it. And it was just it was awesome. Made the hair on your arms stand up. So I agree with you when you talk about some tribute bands, cover bands lack the attention to the vocals. And I think that can carry any piece of shit playing to a different level. I'm from New York, so we talk kind of rough, and now I'll have to check the explicit box because I cursed, but before I put it up. But I assume that's the kind of vibe you're getting back from people to say, it's got to be a music lesson at the same time, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a lifelong educator, music educator, and I'm trained in voice, and my degrees in voice, and as well as arranging. And I think that it provides value for people. Like, it's not just show up and sing karaoke. It's they're going to learn about music while you're there.
Right.
So it's we priced it comparably to other classes that would cost the same amount of money, and we found that people do want to pay it because it does provide value to their lives. And and then there's the magic of that, like when you sing together in harmony, there's been lots of studies done on the positive effects on the body physiologically and mentally about locking into a harmony, vocal harmony, or just the sound of harmony, being part of a large group creating it. It's something about that actually does things to you. It lifts people up. So
yeah, I can just tell you from my experience, it emotes such a grace and a sound and a spirit out that really captures people. Not only the people in the audience listening to it, but I think also for the people as part of the harmony group.
Totally.
Which is, I don't know, just kind of neat. It's just kind of a unique way of approaching it. So now, how many states are you now?
New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, and Oregon. So 6 states.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And any room, obviously you would like to take it wherever you can, I would think, right?
Yeah, we were trying to start expanding before the pandemic hit, and that obviously got put on hold for a little while.
Right.
But we get requests from people now to start one here, so we've got a list going, and we're doing searches for directors. We're hiring directors all the time, trying to hire directors, and
Wow.
it's a long process.
Right, sure.
So, yeah, I don't want to get too far too fast because that can sink any business, expanding beyond your capacity. So we're
Right.
trying to take it slow and do it logically.
Yeah, you know what I would think, vetting out the right director is such a critical aspect to it because, I mean, how do you vet out somebody from Texas? Not that I'm picking on Texas, but remotely as
Far
far
away,
as
yeah.
how they work with students and with people and the approach and
Yeah.
there's the diva aspect of it that can come from a teacher and somebody in the group. I'm sure that's something that you manage out there.
Yeah.
But you also want to protect the brand, right?
We have to vet. We have a vetting process we do where we meet the person and they have to audition to be one of our directors. So
okay.
Either they're here with one of our groups with an audition in front of one of our choirs, or they have to do video footage, but we found a way to do it. We haven't had to go as far away as Texas. So everything's sort of local, from New York up to here.
Sure,
It's
the
not that
Northeast
bad.
thing.
We've made things work.
That's cool. Hey, let's do this. Let's just take a quick break. And when we come back, let's switch gears a little bit. I really want to talk about your career and background. I found it very interesting, and I'm trying to get some extra information on how to be a better singer. So trying to get that out of you. So hang with us, everybody. We'll be back with Tony Lechner from Rock Voices. Stick with us. At the Long Island Sound, we're much more than a podcast. We're building a community. Please go to gigdestiny.com. Check out all our social media links. Subscribe wherever you listen to the podcast. Please comment. Call the listener line. Tell us what you think, what questions we should ask, who we should have on the show. And most of all, we thank you for your generous support. And remember, support the artists who are guests on the show. Now back to the podcast. Hey, everybody. We're back with Tony Lechner of Rock Voices. And so I'm still kind of goosebumpy here, but I looked up your LinkedIn stuff and you're, you seem kind of accomplished, but I don't know. I don't know how true it is, So well, I ask this question, how did you get attracted to music? Early age, older age, obviously you took it on as a career. So, you know what you're doing, but I'm always curious about that.
I have come from a large family. I was the youngest of 7. My parents were musical. My siblings were musical. There was always music in the house.
Wow.
So I started piano lessons when I was maybe 8 or so. My older sister was a really great piano player. And, there's instruments everywhere. And so I was just always there. I just always played. And I grew up with the Beatles and stuff like that.
Sure.
In the 70s, my older siblings had all the albums. They were always playing. So I kind of grew up on the Beatles and all that AM Gold harmony stuff from the 60s and 70s. And I just always loved singing along with the songs. In high school, I got talked into joining the choir, and I had a not so great experience in middle school. I was like one of 4 guys in the choir, and it was all girls, and I was intimidated, and I quit. Of course, if only more guys realized that it's kind of nice to be some of the only guys in the group.
Oh yeah, that's why I joined the choir in high school.
Fun,
I mean, come on, no competition.
I was stupid. I quit. I was an idiot, but I found it again in high school, and I played trumpet too in the band. I just played instruments. I sang and just loved music. And when it got time for college, I studied in rock bands too. I love rock bands. I had lots of cover bands all my life. I wanted to be a rock star. I went to college for music just because I thought I was very fortunate that I was able to go to UMass, and my parents could help me and afford it. And I feel privileged.
Sure.
It's my privilege showing, white, suburban, middle-class kid, and I could go to college for whatever I want,
Wow.
and I'm going to do music and study voice and get my voice better. So I did, with no real clear goal about what I wanted to do with my life other than I want to rock.
I tell you, just having gone to college myself and having that drive of knowing this is what you want to study is a real blessing too, because you have
I was
drive.
definitely focused.
Yeah. And then you already
It
had
was
the
all
big
music for me,
family.
as I knew.
So you had the ensemble thing kind of baked in, for the future.
Well, it wasn't exactly the Partridge Family, but it was fun.
Yeah. Did your siblings continue with music, or are you pretty much the one that kind of took it on as a career?
No, some of them do. One of my sister Amy runs a music together for kids in New Hampshire, and also she teaches ukulele and she performs as with folk bands and stuff. She's a really active musician, guitar player, banjo player, singer.
Oh, great.
Children's entertainer, and she's in southern New Hampshire, so she's fantastic.
Nice.
I have a brother that still plays violin and guitar, great guitar player. And those are the only two that. Oh, and another sister who sings too a lot, but that's so the other ones kind of went different directions. It's all in the arts, but no, I'm the only one that really went kind of all in on the music.
Went overboard.
I think I saw my. Yeah, and I didn't want to be a teacher. I had no intention of being a music teacher, but when I finished, I with schooling, I stayed at school and got a master's in arranging because, like a lot of people, I was kind of, I don't want to go get a job. I like college. I'm going to stay here. What else can I do?
Right.
I like arranging and writing music. So I stayed. I hid in college for 2 more years. And
good deal.
I got a teaching job offered to me, and I took it just because I got to do something. And I know music. And I ended up teaching for 17 years.
Wow.
High school music and middle school music because I found that I enjoyed it. How about that?
Yeah.
And helping kids learn music was rewarding and fulfilling in a way I never thought it would be. It was awesome.
Well, what's interesting too for me, and look, I'm a total layman when it comes to music. And I'm kind of enamored at singer-songwriters and people who've woodshedded their craft and really worked at it, because my biggest disappointment is I never really did. Although there's still room, before I die.
Yeah, it's never too late.
But what was a surprising enlightenment to me was how many singer-songwriters and people gigging around teach music on the side all the time, And I was like, wow, that was really cool. And I've got some insights from them. And one of the words that really kind of hung with me, and it kind of plays into your story with your family, is encouragement and opportunity. And, to encourage people along the process, and you touched on it earlier, I think all of us, or many of us, who say, oh, I can't sing, or, I feel as though I don't find the right key. And I eventually do, by the 4th verse, I'm right. I'm spot on, And my mom used to sing in every key, in church. So I blame her for a broken ear that I have. But I think, there's a lot to be said about teachers and spreading the love and the healing and the art out in music. I think it's very admirable what you do,
Yeah.
And you threw it all away, and now you're cashing in.
I traded one kind of teaching for another. I got burnt out a little bit on teaching, not because of the students, but like administrations and schools, and it's
the BS.
It can be a landmine a minefield. And I started these choirs, and now I'm still teaching. I'm just teaching adults. So I often joke with them, because you put a bunch of adults in a room together, they're going to talk just as much as any teenagers or kids. And
right, you got to reel them in. You got to reel them in. So you take the baton, you tap the baton.
Have a good time when they're together.
Tap the baton, bring them back in. So in the different rock voice group, what do you call them? Cells, groups, franchises,
choirs,
just choirs.
Groups,
okay, choirs. What's the range from? What's the attendance? I would say, and then do you do like a seasonal thing? Like, how do you approach it? It's not.
Yeah, it's broken up into 3 sessions per year.
Okay.
Like a spring one, a summer one, and a fall one. Although the fall one stretches into December and January, and the spring one starts at the end of January. So we spread out 3 12-week sessions over the year.
Okay.
A couple weeks in between. And the groups vary. The sizes vary depending on how new the group is or the location of the group. I mean, my group in Western Mass got so big, when it got over 100, I had to split it start a new one across the river.
Right.
I have, two towns, two groups, 10 minutes apart. They were each over 100 people before the pandemic started. And we combined for a concert, 200 people. It was just big, powerful sound. I mean, which is one of the nice things about the choir is that I always tell people it's a great place to hide and still sing. Because a lot of people come to us like, oh, I don't know if I can sing. I don't know if I can do this, and I say, just once you're in the group, just let the music go and sing when you can, sing when you want to, sing more as you learn it better. It's a great hiding place to ease your way back into singing again.
Yeah, sure.
Because there's no pressure to be the soloist or be the star. No one's listening to you. No one's judging you. No one's going to make you stand up and sing alone.
Right.
If you miss a rehearsal, you're not kicked out. There's none of these things that in a professional group you might have to deal with.
Sure.
So,
but then what you have also is because you're in a collective, and I'm just trying to picture myself in this, is you have that encouragement of people who are next to you that says, hey, you know what, maybe you can step forward and maybe take a little bit of leap because you are that good. Because I stand next to you and I hear you and I follow you for the note and what have you. That's got to happen. I could just see it,
It happens for sure.
And then you get
people
that collective encouragement. And then, it would be an interesting follow-up I'd love to do with you is to take your students and speak to them on a podcast and let them give the testimony of, hey, this is what it did for me. I think that'd be there's got to be 1,000 stories out there.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't believe it's a successful right from you, the owner. I mean, I'm joking.
No, it's everything you just said. That's totally, the people have their stories of inspiration for sure.
So now you started it in 2012. Okay. It's 10 years later now. COVID hits in 2020. Man, what did that do to you? I mean, because now it's like, all right, you can't meet, and how do we keep the community going? I guess a lot of people have that challenge. How did it work for you?
Yeah, it basically shut us down in person, which not a good business to be in for the pandemic. Singing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's our business. That's how I support my family. So we went virtual. We had all the directors record themselves at home with their keyboard, live stream, and people would sign up and still pick whatever choir they wanted to join, their local director. And they would learn a song we'd do mini sessions, 4 weeks at a time. We would learn one song. And at the end, they'd send in recordings of themselves singing it, mostly video, sometimes just audio. And then we'd weave the parts together in the videos. I'd hire a video editor and we make a virtual choir video out of it. So we've done, I'll list some of the songs we did. We did James Taylor's Shed a Little Light, which is a great James Taylor tribute to Martin Luther King. We've done Lean on Me, Bill Withers' classic Lean on Me. Sailing by Christopher Cross, one of my favorites. Times Like These by the Foo Fighters.
Oh,
and there was one more we also finished, Blackbird by the Beatles.
Nice.
We have more that we recorded, but it takes a long time to put those videos together, like months.
I can imagine. Because I remember during the pandemic, what kind of ties into what you're doing is they used to do like a song around the world.
Oh yeah,
which ties into kind of what you piece together.
Similar thing.
And I can imagine the hours of editing that go into that.
Yeah,
but it was also for me that was like, we're still community, even though we're arm's length from each other virtually from that. But it also
it really
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go.
Oh, it kept people together in a way that they needed. Because right when everything shut down, at the beginning, everybody quarantined, right? From the very beginning, back in March of 2020. Yep. So all of a sudden, people were shut in. And this was one night a week where they get to go on a Zoom call and they could see other people or see the director or, whatever format we used and feel like they're still connected to something.
Right.
It was a lifesaver. People were telling us, like, I'm so glad we're doing this. Otherwise, I'd be home alone all day by myself. Especially people who may be retired or who are older, really stuck with not a lot of places to go. So, it was
I remember doing Zoom calls with my friends. But what's interesting about yours has a purpose to it. Besides the connectivity, you have a mission to, okay, we're going to learn this song. We're going to do that. And I found a lot with musicians. Hey, give me a goal. I've got that festival coming up. I've got this coming up. I've got to learn that. And I've got to do my woodshedding and homework to get it done. It just adds to a really kind of a great dynamic to drive things forward,
Definitely.
which is neat. So you survived COVID. You got barely. Yeah. That's your income, right? So it's like, you could see it.
Yeah.
What did I quit the teaching job for? Right.
Well, it was dwindling. Like at first, everyone was like, "Yes, we're going to do virtual. We're going to support the choir. We're going to support Rock Voices." And as it went on, we did this for 2 years, almost a year and almost 2 years. We did that, and we dropped. A lot of people lost interest or lost ability to keep paying attention, or as life returned to normal, started to return to normal, people started drifting away, and so we were getting near the bottom. I was surviving on savings. Home improvement savings became, well, I guess we're going to live on this now. No more savings for our family. But we made it through. So
now it's on the upswing. I would think, and that's always kind of exciting to have you on the podcast because I'm honest with you. This is something I want to tell my friends about. Where you can go with this, you don't have to suffer through the church choir that might be difficult. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to go through any history. I'm not going to name names. Maybe we'll see. But it's so where a choir in a church atmosphere is driven by what's going to happen seasonally, and you're kind of driven that way. I remember the choir in our local church that I used to attend. The problem they had was attrition through death, unfortunately. That was going on, and they had some really tremendous people. And getting them, I'm not joking, getting them up to the choir loft was a struggle as people age. So that brings me to another question. So now COVID's over. Where do you guys typically meet? You rent space, you have an office. I mean, how do you do it?
I just work out of my home.
Okay.
But the groups meet anywhere we can find space to rent. So like, for example, the Long Island group meets in the Syosset Gospel Church.
Okay.
The Syosset Gospel Church was nice enough to give us rent Monday nights. So that's where we are. But in another town, it might be the VFW Hall. Or in upstate New York, our Albany group was at the YMCA there for a while. They had a function room they rented. My group in Northampton's at one of those community arts centers, the Northampton Center for the Arts.
Cool.
So kind of just wherever we can find a place that's big enough, that can fit the people in, that has reasonable rent, we'll meet.
Yeah.
So.
Community church. So we have community church here in Babylon. And I'm going to talk to the pastor about it. It could be a nice win-win really for, hey, you know what? Yeah. We're not doing anything on Mondays. It might be, and you got a stage and everything else and great sound system, really phenomenal stuff. It might be a way to go. And then I'll get my free lesson, my free voice. See where I'm going with this? It's very subtle, but I won't.
Got an angle.
Yeah, there's an angle to it. You think, gee, he had you on the podcast for Rock Voices. He's trying to weasel a free song lesson out of it. So happy you made it through COVID. Let's do this. Let's go to a break. But do you have an idea of a song that we can have our audience listen to that'll give you a good example of what Rock Voices sounds like?
Well, it's hard to pick just one because, Well,
we can do more later. Pick one of the lousier ones now, and then we'll do the good one at the end.
No, I think, one of the I think Blackbird by the Beatles is a great one because it's a song everybody knows. And it's a little bit of a twist on my arrangement but it's mostly like getting to sing the real song. So we have a decent recording of it that we did during the pandemic, actually, that I think sounds great.
All right. Let's listen to Blackbird, and I'll be right back after it. Check it out, everyone.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these
broken wings and learn to fly all your life. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see all your life. You were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly, into the light of the dark black night. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly all your life. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise.
Hey, that was absolutely beautiful. That gave us, or gave me, a clear understanding of the power of getting a group of people like this together to do songs you love. You know, I think it's a great concept.
Keep in mind, those are mostly amateurs, everyday people singing that you just heard who never took voice lessons, mostly don't know how to read music. And yet, in the right situation, with the right encouragement, can do amazing things.
So let's say this. So you're mostly in the Northeast. So in my area, you're in Brooklyn Heights. You're in Syosset. I assume if you find the right director who is very intrigued by this Rock Voices setup, have them contact you at rockvoices.com and see if, like, hey, maybe you can have a Rock Voices choir in your state and spread the love I'm serious, spread the love and healing that this world really needs right now. This way. And just as an aside, for anyone who's listening to the podcast, you'll have all the information in our chapter marks, how to get in touch with Tony and his website. We'll also have links to his videos. He's got a bunch of videos that he's done with the group, so you can really get a good flavor of what Rock Voices does. And man, I'd love to come back a year from now and have Tony say, hey, you know what? We just opened 10 more franchises or 10 more groups around. And, this is something that it's a good thing. It's a win-win, you know? Okay. So now let's talk about your chops. Okay. Because I looked you up on, I do my homework. Okay. And tell me what a sound designer is and how that developed, because I've never heard of that before, but I'm pretty ignorant, so I don't hear about a lot of things.
Well, the sound designer is just someone who does like the sound effects and the background noises that you hear in movies and cartoons. So I kind of stumbled into it. My brother is the lead animator at a company called Fablevision in Boston, and they're kind of like a small version of Pixar. They're not big budget Disney kind of thing. They're more like a small educational based company, and they do a lot of. So he has always worked there. He's an incredible artist and animator, and I kind of stumbled in. They needed music on a project, and I'm a composer and I'm a songwriter and a arranger. And then they said, "Hey, could you do some sound effects for us too on that?" And I said, "Oh, sure." So I kind of taught myself how to do it. And now I have sound libraries, and I got 10 to 15 years experience putting sound effects like, the wind, the noises of anything you hear in the background, as well as the music, into a bunch of animated shorts and educational videos and things like that.
That's
a lot
neat.
of fun.
Yeah, I tell you, I just discovered, because in putting the podcast together, and I haven't really got into, effects between scenes and that sort of thing, but I found a site, and, you got to be careful what you use if somebody else has produced it, right? Apparently, the BBC opened up their whole library of sound effects.
Wow.
I'm going to leave a link in this chapter for people who are interested. I've been accused of making sound effects, but I deny it all the time at the dinner table. Is all I got to say.
One of the things I worked on was called The North Star. It was a book. It's a children's book by Peter Reynolds, who's one of the co-founders of Fablevision, with his brother Paul Reynolds. He turned the book into an animated movie, 5, 6, 7-minute movie. I got to do the music and the sound effects for it, and they got Tim Curry to narrate it. So
really?
I share credits with my name's right after Tim Curry in the credits as the narrator. So I like to point at that. Hey, I worked with Tim Curry. I never got to hang out with him or anything, but
Yeah, it was all virtual, but your name is next to his credits. So that's pretty, guy, very distinct voice. I remember seeing him in Rocky Horror when I was in high school.
Yeah.
My girlfriend at the time was a big Rocky Horror fan, and that ruined me for the rest of my life seeing that movie. It's great.
I also like him in Muppet Treasure Island. He's good as Long John Silver. Yeah.
Oh, very good. Very good. So you did that for a number of years. You're an arranger. Obviously, that helps you with rock voices. But tell me about the songwriting aspect, because you list yourself as a songwriter.
Yeah.
And how did that come about?
Well, I think what happened with a lot of people who just love music, they listen to music, they learn to play that music, and then eventually it leads to writing your own music for a lot of people. So it kind of just led me there. I played with my rock band for years, and we started dabbling in writing original songs. They were horrible early attempts. I still have a cassette somewhere from like the mid 80s of one of our original songs, and I listen now and cringe, like, oh, what were we thinking? But that's how everyone starts, really.
Sure. You got to be a disaster. You got to be a disaster before you become a master.
That's right. Yeah, you imitate, you assimilate, and then you innovate. Ooh. And thank my buddy Johnny Piazza for that from Utica, New York. But
very nice.
Anyway, I kept writing, and in college, I was still writing, and I got into jazz. And when I was looking for something to do after I graduated, some of the professors were saying, you should do jazz arranging for a master's, jazz composition and arranging. So I did. And so I trained with a whole bunch of great writers about writing for big band charts. So I wrote a lot of big band charts and got my chops there, and small group stuff. And I also was writing pop songs at the same time. So I kind of write everything. And I have this, I wrote a collection of jazz tunes, kind of like Nora Jonesy kind of stuff.
Okay.
And I hired some of my friends and some of my former students who are like phenomenal players. I hired them to play this album for me and record it. I'm not even on the album. I did some maybe percussion in the background, some hand claps, but I'm like, I want all these people. I want you on piano. I want you on singing. And like half the album went on to win things. Like, a couple of the songs won the John Lennon Songwriting Contest, jazz category, like first prize, grand prize.
Wow.
2 different ones. One of them's in a movie, Dinner for Schmucks with Paul Rudd.
Oh, yes, I know. Yeah, sure.
One of my songs is in that movie. My name's in the credits right after Lennon McCartney, Fool on the Hill. It's like Lennon McCartney goes by in the credits, and then Tony Lechner. And I always talk to freeze the frame when I see it on TV. I'm watching this end. I got to watch the end of the movie. Everyone,
you're rolling in residuals, man. Okay, you don't have to work.
Yeah, not from that movie. I'm not. Oh yeah, I was excited at first, then it trailed off after a year or two, and I think I made several $100s from that one. I have to say.
Hey.
Better than Spotify, I guess.
I remember I talked to another arranger who was a guest, a guy named Nelson Montana, and he had a bet with the guy. He said, arranging is really most of the work, arranging a song,
Yeah.
and I forget there was a group of gals, 3 gals out of New Hampshire, who were considered to be the worst album ever made. And the name escapes me, but I'll have it in the chapter marks. He actually rearranged that whole album with another set of musicians to prove a bet that said, basically, I can take a shitty song, and if I arrange it right with the right vocals, and this album is horrible. It's just, out of key, and it's worth, if you want to, Halloween's coming up, it's worth listening to if you want to scare, sonically frighten yourself. Oh God, it'll come to me anyway.
And it wasn't on purpose. It was seriously.
No, apparently this was a trio of girls in high school that their father put them up to do an album, and it's a cult classic now. It'll be in the chapter marks when I put this together in post. Anyway, that's an homage to arrangers and the work that you do. So you cover a lot of bases: songwriting, the studio work, and now this great idea of Rock Voices. I think I feel like I'm with a pioneer. I'm seriously, no, really. I mean, I spoke to him back in the day, back in 2022. Yeah, I had him on my podcast. I made him. He really grew. He exploded to 14 countries after the podcast came out.
Get the Long Island Sound bump.
The bump, well, you got to dream. You got to dream. Hey, let's talk about the third song. If you can, I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, that we could have our audience listen to get another gander and another aspect of Rock Voices.
I think Africa by Toto.
Okay.
It's one of those songs that everybody loves to sing, right? Everyone just loves to sing along with that. It's one of those, like Bohemian Rhapsody. Like, even if you don't think you're a great singer, if you're alone, you're probably still going to sing along to it, right? We all, especially after Wayne's World and all that stuff. So like we sang Africa early on in the choir, and it was a big hit. Everyone loves singing it. It's practically made for a choir. It's got 4-part harmony in the chorus, and it's just we have a live recording of it that came out great. A live video from in concert, and it just really shows when you hear it, and you can see all the faces of the people who are just everyday people, and hear the sound of these everyday people's voices blended together in awesome harmony. It's a great snapshot of what it's all about.
All right. And then when we come back after the song, I'm really curious on how you go about picking the songs. So let's hear, it's Africa, right? Africa?
Yep. Africa by Toto.
Toto. All right. Yeah. We'll be right back after the song. Check it out.
The drums echoing tonight. She hears only whispers of some quiet conversation. She's coming in 12:30 flight. Her moonlit wings reflect the stars that guide me towards salvation. I stopped an old man along the way, hoping to find some old forgotten words or ancient melodies. He turned to me as if to say, "Hurry, boy, it's waiting there for you."
Gonna take the love to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I bless the rains down in Africa. Gonna take some time to do the things we never had.
We're back. Yeah, we're back again. This is Steve Yusko, your host of Long Island Sound. Just if you forgot who I was, because, I got a guest and we talk about the guest a lot and, kind of wears me out. But hey, this is just great stuff. And I think any of the audience listening to this is going to check out Rock Voices. Go to rockvoices.com and see if there's something in your area. And if there isn't, reach out to Tony and see if we can find some good talent to put together. Because I'm telling you, it's going to heal your community and help people get together and help people find their voice, if nothing else. Did that kind of elevator pitch it for you pretty good?
Yeah, love it. You're hired.
Tony, what do you have coming up in the next few months in the new season?
We are a little ways into our fall season, and we got concerts in January. We'll have our Brooklyn Heights group and our Long Island Syosset group both doing concerts back to back the second weekend in January. I think the dates are the Saturday the 14th and Sunday the 15th. I think those are the dates that go with those days, but basically that second weekend. I think the venues are still TBD.
Now, do they play separately together or,
Yeah, they're two separate groups. I think in my naivete of being a Massachusetts person and not spending a lot of time in Long Island, I thought, I look at the map and Syosset looks like it's only a couple miles from Brooklyn. Why don't they just drive over and sing with them? And then I get laughed at, and people explain to me how long it takes to get from Brooklyn to Syosset on one of the one main road, two main roads you can take.
Yeah, there's not really decent mass transit. It's crazy. Yeah. We do have taxis and traffic. Yeah.
It looks close together on the map. I don't know, but I've been proven wrong and explained otherwise why that I'm ridiculous for thinking that. So I understand now. But
so they put you in your place as a New Yorker should.
That's right.
Explain you the ways of the big city.
That's right.
That's coming up locally, which is great. And basically, in your other groups, so they kind of follow a similar schedule when it comes to
all the groups have concerts right around then, and then we start a spring season, the last week in January, and it's a lot of people tell us they're afraid to show up because they think they're going to embarrass themselves or like, oh, I wanted to do that, but I'm kind of nervous. I don't have someone to go with, I don't want to go alone. But then people tell us, wow, I'm so glad I came. I think people are scared because it's singing and people will be there and they might hear you. And I think the most important thing I can say to people is just show up and try it. We make it free at the beginning. You can try 3 times, right? At no cost. You don't have to pay our tuition or anything. Just see what it's like. You've absolutely nothing to lose. And you see it's just a group of people just like you singing songs you know and love, and great songs, nice company. It's fun. It's a social activity. It's a therapeutic activity. We've had members tell us they want to talk to their therapist about getting it covered as a therapeutical. Like we've had therapists talk to us and say, I want to prescribe this for my patient because they need something like this. It gets them out of the house. It gets them socializing with people. It gets them participating in something. I mean, I would love to see it be covered in the things of therapeutically covered activities.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. I used to travel a lot early in my career, in my sales career. And the one of the regrets that I had is being disconnected from the community. You're away, you can't do the things during the week and what have you. You have the weekend and you just don't want to do anything. And if I look at having just gone through quarantine for 2 years, there's got to be a backlog of people saying, I need to be reconnected again. And the benefits to your psyche and everything else, it sounds like the right prescription for these days and times to check out Rock Voices. And my good friend, I talked to my good friend Mike Nugent, God bless you, and about being a musician. And I said, what do you like about it, Mike? He goes, hey, what I'm doing is I'm spreading the love to heal the world. And at first I heard it, I was like, come on. And then I was like, you know what? You're right. And that's what I think Rock Voices can bring to any community out there. So it's definitely, I know this sounds like a commercial for Rock Voices, but I'm really intrigued by it. And
hey, our mission is healing ourselves and others through song.
Yeah.
So and that's it.
So we're right on board. All right, brother. Hey, listen, Tony, thanks so much for spending time with me. I say this at the end of many of my podcasts. My good friend Bob told me, look, we can account for a lot of things. What's in our bank account, what we own. We can never account for the time that we have left on earth. The fact that you gave me a good chunk of your time is, I really do appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And
my pleasure.
Let's help make
Thanks.
an impact on the world and start healing the world with the music, okay?
I like it.
All right, brother. We'll see you soon.
Thanks,
Be well.
Steve. All right. You too. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate the time you spent with us. Please subscribe and comment and visit us at gigdestiny.com. Till next time, be generous with your joy, keep your spirits high, and let the music take you on a journey. Be well. Peace. Thanks so much for listening. Please rate, review, and comment on the show. We really love to hear from you. And call our listener line at 631-800-3579. Again, thanks so much. Be well.